Hey everybody, fall is here and we're getting those cooler temperatures, and it's time to start thinking about cleaning up some of our perennials. Now, I've already talked about pruning your shrubs and your hydrangeas, but some of your perennials will benefit from a little cleanup right now. Other ones don't touch at all, and then there's some that don't care either way. So the ones that you really want to start out with are any of them that might have any bug, slug, or pest damage, anything that maybe had some powdery mildew. If you notice black spots or red spots or brown spots, that, just things that made the leaves look a little ugly, those probably need to be pruned right now, just because you want to get rid of whatever it was that was causing that problem, and you want to just get rid of it. So for most of your plants, it's a good idea to cut that stuff out right away. And I have an example right here. So this is a hosta that clearly has some slug or snail damage. You can see those holes. And also with hostas, I like to do those in the fall because you notice the leaves get kind of slimy once they freeze out. And so it's just a lot easier to clean these up right away. And hostas are super easy to take care of because that's all you do is take your trimmers and just cut them down at the base. So I'll show you how I do that. So with hostas, you don't have to leave very much behind. It is a good idea to use snips rather than pulling with your hand, because you could end up just yanking out all the roots and everything. So you don't want to do that. And let's see if I can get a couple more out of there so you can at least see. So you can see right there how far down I go. You can just go right down. You don't have to worry about it too much. Now, because these leaves are in such bad shape, there could also be some eggs or some other contamination on these leaves. So I'm not going to put these in my compost. I'm going to make sure that I toss these or burn them. And then when I'm finished, I'm also going to make sure that my trimmers get kind of cleaned up or sanitized. So I'm going to use alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. I just spray them with those, but you can use 10% bleach with water solution. Some people just use their Lysol disinfectant as well. Might not be quite as strong. Some people use vodka, not as strong either. But you do want to make sure and sanitize them, because if any of that contamination is left on here, you could pass it on to other plants. Now, I also noticed that right here next to it, there's this plant that's getting these beautiful leaves, really nice red color, and that's actually, I think, a weed. So I'm going to just pull that out. It's probably already reseeded, so it's probably not a rooted one. And these are some daylilies underneath here. Not much left of them. Daylilies I do like to trim back as well. So I'm just going to take my snippers, trim them off there, and pull that away, because those can get a little slimy in the springtime too. So it's nice to just get rid of those as well. And these were just little, I think there was probably Stella, little mini ones or something. I think that's what they are. Anyway, this is kind of a neglected part of the garden. So that's why this got to this point where there's just so much damage on these leaves. But you notice the hostas still pull through. It's still healthy. It just doesn't look very pretty. And we're going to get rid of any kind of yuckiness there and move on to our next plants. So another flower that can benefit from some fall pruning is going to be the peony. Now, the leaves look great all season long, but as we get later into the season, you can see they start to wither. They look a little rough. Now, peony you can trim right to the ground, just like we did with the hostas. So don't be afraid to take those down. Now, a couple other plants that we should look at down over here. So a lot of times people will get rid of their phlox and cut that back, because a lot of times phlox will have powdery mildew at the end of the season. So it can be a good idea to trim those back. And then like your butterfly bush. Now those tend not to do great in our zone. They did fantastic this year. Those I wouldn't touch at all till spring. Then let's see, what else do we have down here? There's a couple of things. Let's see, I'll move you down. So here's some heucheras. They're covered in leaves right now, but heucheras, I would always leave those because they're semi-evergreen. These leaves are going to look almost the same when they come back in the spring, and then in the spring there might be some kind of down around the bottom that you're going to just clean up, but you don't have to do much with heuchera, especially not in the fall. They're going to do just fine the way they are. And then things like sedum, that's what these here are, leave those up because there's no reason for you to take them down. They look great in the winter, and those seed pods are kind of nice. And then also, let's see, we also have some black-eyed Susan here, Rebecca. Those seed pods I would definitely leave because the birds love those, and they're pretty easy to clean up in the springtime, so you don't have to worry about those. And let me take you inside and I'll show you some of the other plants. So daylilies I like to do in the fall just because I find them a nuisance in the spring to work with. They get a little slimy and they're just kind of in the way, so I like to do them in the fall. I also do the same thing with ornamental grasses. A lot of people leave their ornamental grasses and they recommend it because a lot of times the grass will help protect the roots a little bit, give a little insulation, but I find that I don't get out there soon enough, and so then I end up, when I'm trimming them in the springtime, I'm also trimming the new growth at the same time, and it just becomes a little bit of a problem for me. So for me, it works to just take them down right now. Things like bee balm are another one that sometimes leaving the plant there can help protect the crown over the winter. That's the case with a lot of your plants, so that's why it's a lot of times recommended that you just leave them as they are for the winter. Like the black-eyed Susans, the echinacea or coneflower seed pods are really beautiful in the wintertime, and they do kind of become a treat for the birds, so I usually recommend leaving those. When it comes to your irises, especially your bearded irises, you can cut those at a diagonal in the fall. They're going to benefit. You do want that diagonal. I think it has to do with moisture or something like that. I'm not sure. All I know is that's how you're supposed to do it. We usually leave the Russian sage. And if you do trim it, make sure you trim it, not break it, because you can kind of break it down at the root, which can be a problem. So if you do trim, but usually we leave that for the spring. It's an easy one to trim back. Yarrow we trim back, mums we trim back. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh, there's a really pretty fern over here that I'm going to show you. Sorry to take you on such a wild tour here, but like you can cut back the leaves of these ferns, but those seed pods are really beautiful, so that can be just something nice to leave out in the winter. These you can also pick and use them in, you know, your wreaths or anything like that that you might be doing for projects this time of year. Let's see, do I have any more? Ligularia we trim back. But you know, it's kind of up to you. With the astilbe, usually I leave that, but I try to get out to it early in the spring, because that's another one that the new growth and the old growth together can be a little tricky if you're trying to trim it. And then let's see, so we've got a lot of hostas that we've already trimmed. So, and then look at how beautiful these heucheras are. You get so much color in heucheras, and again, when the snow melts, they have all this color instantly. You don't have to wait for the leaves to kind of come forth. So I do recommend those. So that should get you started on your pruning. I do want to remind you that there are some shrubs that you should never prune in the fall, and those include your lilacs, rhododendrons, azaleas, mock orange, viburnum. There's a couple others as well, because if you trim those now, you're going to be cutting the buds off. So it is a good idea to check first. And if you're not sure, it's really easy to hop on the internet and just do a quick search. When do I prune, or when do I trim, and then name your plant. And it is important that you do kind of find sources in your zone or close to your zone. So someone in a zone 4, 5, or 6 is going to have a lot better information for you specifically than someone who's in a higher zone farther south, because you know, down south they have much milder winters than we do, so they may treat some of their plants a little bit differently than we do. So good sources are going to be things like Michigan State University, University of Wisconsin, University of Minnesota. They're in our zone, so any information that they give you is going to be really pertinent to what you need to know for our area specifically. So don't be afraid to even check those sources directly, but if you see them come up on your searches, then you know, like, oh, gonna start there. So good luck everybody, and I hope you're all having a great fall so far.